Coming up live on this special MLK Day with Mental Health Matters with Marty. Where are we at with mental health and the Black community? Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? Hello. Happy Martin Luther King Day to you. Happy King Day. It's a special day out there. Hey, again, for those of you who are joining in with us, my name is Martina Sellers, and I am your mental health hygienist coming to you live and in living color from Southern California, where the sun, come on, y'all, you know what I say, is always shining. And we have had some amazing weather out here in Southern California. It has been in the 80s. Can you believe it? It has been absolutely amazing. So listen, we want you to come on in. Let us know you're in here, but I'm so excited. Listen, on this King Day, we have so much to be grateful for, so much to be thankful for, and so excited about my special guest that's coming on with us a little bit later on. But we are so grateful for this day, a day of service, a day of giving back, a day of remembering who we are and remembering what King said. Listen, he had the dream that we all would come together in unity. No other day than like today to commemorate that, and no other time like in our history than like right now that we need this. So there is Miss Portia Scott. How are you? Listen, I am trying to look great, darling, from this mini vacation that I had, and your show with Pastor John was absolutely amazing. So listen, if you have not joined Portia Scott and seen all her wonderful things, she and I co-host a show on Sundays, but definitely she was also the one who helped me launch my podcast. We want to thank her. And then she and her husband has just started a beautiful podcast called Charts to Hearts. So we're so glad about that. Listen, if you're out there, yes, hello, darling, as you say. We want you to definitely let us know you are out there. Let us know you are listening. And, during this day of service, where do you want to give service to in your community, in our communities? Where can we give? For me, giving back on this Mental Health Matters with Marty on the live shows. And last week, I also started my live show on Instagram on Thursday evenings at 7 p.m., as well as my podcast that drops every Wednesday. And so that's my way of giving back to our communities in that. And let me make this disclaimer. This show is intended for educational purposes. We are not a substitute. Let me say that again. We are not a substitute for therapy, but we are a supplement to that. We always want you to, if that is the need, go see a therapist. Go to your mental health provider. If you are experiencing any type of a medical emergency or psychological emergency, please go to your nearest psychiatric ward, go to your nearest urgent care, or call for help in that regards. Why? Because we don't want you to suffer in silence in the shadow of shame. But like I say, every week we want you to speak up, speak out, and live. That's what we're talking about, speaking up, speaking out, and living. And during this day, on King Day, no better day to commemorate that and speaking out for our liberties, speaking out for our freedom, speaking out for our rights. Why? So that we can make sure that our children and our children's children have a better opportunity of living this thing called a dream. So let us know you're listening. Where you're listening from tonight? Where are you going to give in service? Please type and let us know those areas in this day of service. And you know what? We're so excited that, that we are turning this corner, at least we're attempting to turn this corner, and celebrate an American true hero like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was truly a hero that was taken way before his time, but we cannot let his dream die. We cannot and for me, that dream means that we have a right as Black and brown people to mental health services. We have a right to social services that's going to speak for us, that's going to dream for us, that's going to support us in our endeavors. Too often and far too long, the system has been stacked up against us due to systemic racism and politics that have played a detrimental role in the lives of Black and brown people. But we are saying no more is that going to happen. Why? Because we have therapists out there who are representing us. If this is making sense to you, listen, y'all, like and share. That's how we grow. But without any further ado, I want to bring on our guest tonight. He is all the way from the Baltimore, Maryland area. We are so glad to have him with us. Yes, serving through Sunday Show as an ambassador for Caring for Girls. Yes, Portia, love that. You are definitely serving in that area. And we all can serve in so many minute areas, and it's the small things that make such a huge difference. But again, my guest tonight, so glad to have him. He is on the rise. I'm trying to grow up and be like him. My God, he's doing amazing things in the heart of the city, in Baltimore, with our people. He's doing a great thing as a social worker, as a therapist, as a man of God, as a family man, just doing his thing out there. So I want to welcome to the Mental Health Matters with Marty show for the very first time, but definitely not the last time, none other than Deon Brown. Deon!
Hello there.
What's going on, man? How are you?
I am well.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the show, man. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Definitely. Tell our listening audience, for those who might be hearing you and seeing you and for the first time, what you do and your passion for this thing that we do share together called mental health.
Sure. I tend to do a lot of work in the African American community as it relates to mental health here in the DMV.
Yes.
I'm a licensed clinician in professional counseling, licensed in addictions, as well as certified in trauma. I have clients in 3 different locations in the DMV, in Baltimore, Silver Springs, as well as Upper Marlboro. And the clients that I work with range from ages 11 to 65, as well. Right. I do some couples work. I also do work for churches and community organizations, discussions, panels, talks, presentations around mental health, around self-care, around depression, anxiety, and a few other things, but that's the gist of it.
Man, you are in the center of our capital and doing everything that you can in that DMV area. Man, I'm going to grow up and be like you in 3 areas, you know. How do you keep your sanity in all of that? Man, just really the way that you serve and you know, definitely we connected because of the mutual group we're in, Black Male Therapists, and everything, man. And I follow you and see your work that you're doing. And let me salute you, because a lot of times a lot of people don't know that we are out there, as Black male therapists. And although we represent a small population, we are still doing some powerful things. Listen, Thomas Davis, come on, man, says, shout out to the DMV. East Coast is the best coast, Mart. Listen, Thomas, I ain't got time to go into you about this coastal battle. Listen, you do what you do on the DMV, and I'm going to do what I do out here in Cali. And we're going to all make it happen together. Right, Deon?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right.
Definitely. Tell me this, what gave you the desire and drive? Because, you know, I went to UC Berkeley, so there weren't a lot of people in the social welfare department that looked like us. There definitely weren't any instructors who taught like us in the psychology department and everything. What was your passion for mental health, social work as you do it today?
So originally I was going down a path of computer science.
Oh, wow.
And that was my initial major. And I took a few classes and realized I wasn't really called to work with objects. So I took a introductory psychology class. The class was great. The material was great. The teacher was horrible. Teacher was horrible. But I liked the material. So I started taking a few additional classes. In addition, as a Black man born and raised in Baltimore, I also came from a challenging childhood and upbringing, a lot of family-oriented chaos and trauma. Right. I think that birthed in me a need and a desire at a point to help others. And then I kind of became like a wounded healer of sorts.
Okay. I agree with you. So many of us have had, and I grew up in a domestic violent household. So talking about trauma for 16 years, that's what I remembered. And I got to California because growing up in Ohio, my mother wanted to put as many miles away from my father as possible. So I didn't realize how much trauma, Deon, I was carrying because I don't remember. This is how powerful the mind is. I don't remember my high school people that I went to school with out here in California, but I remember everyone from Ohio and everyone from college. But that transitional time, I don't remember it. And so I definitely agree with you in the healing portion of it because of our own traumas that we have and the desire not to get help also for ourselves, but to offer help as well in that.
And one thing I'll say about that too, my graduate program, part of the graduation requirements here was that we had to have about 30 sessions of therapy that we walked through ourselves. So I set on the side of the patient or the client to work through my own stuff and my own material, because my program wanted to make sure we had a good amount of mental and emotional well-being of our own before we go out and help other people.
And that's so important. So how was that for you? Even, now you're becoming this therapist, this social worker, but you had to work out your own problems because, as we know, it'll spill over when we're trying to help out our own, even though our intent might be good, we have too much undealt with trauma that's unresolved that can then spill out and really do more damage than good. How was that process for you?
I actually enjoyed it. Having a regular, steady, safe place where I can go talk and share and unload, and maybe have someone look at my thought processes and how I'm feeling. Maybe point out some behavioral patterns that may need some correcting. So it was initially a little bit intimidating, and I think this may tie into something you're going to say, but because we don't, it's getting better. The tide is changing. But historically, we in the African American community, we don't run to therapy right away.
Yeah. And that's so important. Listen, I'm saying shout out real quick. We see Paula on there. Blewett, good to see you. All these wonderful people. T.E. Edwards, good to see you as well. We appreciate you guys for tuning in with us. And we're having this, if you're just joining us, having this amazing conversation with Deon Brown, an amazing, accomplished, well-spoken, and just all that in the DMV area, what he's doing in social worker at work and therapy, and just really helping our communities heal through trauma. And it's so important with that. Yes, Jerron, what's going on, my brother? How you feeling? See, Thomas, we got some other therapists out here on the West Coast.
He's on the West Coast too?
Yes, he's out here. He's about 10 miles from me.
Okay.
Man, here's shame to me because we're that close and we still have not met up and done anything. But we're gonna do better in 2021. We are. I like that you're coming from a point of, because I know when doing therapy myself, coming from a point of, you feel how initially it can be uncomfortable to give your emotions, your thoughts over to this person you don't really know, or building up that rapport. So I love that. Yes, we're going to get you, hook you up, Jerron. This is on my website. I'll give you more information later. Is that a t-shirt you designed, Deon?
Actually, a lady from my church.
Oh, wow.
Purchased it for me, and she found it. So I will. I am supposed to find out for Jerron anyway. So I need to follow up on that.
Yeah.
Find out where he got it from.
But do you find that because you have been through therapy yourself, that you can share that with especially our African American clients, especially, let's go here, Black men,
Sure.
Because we are the ones who resist it the most because of the stereotypes and the messages that we have been told and taught to carry, whether true or untrue, and the burden. I love how you shake your head like, I know, those negative messages that mess with our brains and everything. Yes. Vanessa Green says, it's so sad our people are, for some reason, ashamed to ask for help. Some deep issues need more than prayer. Speak to that with what Vanessa has. Yes.
There's a lot there. So I do, one of the presentations that I do has to do with black men and mental health, but also I do presentations for churches. One is mental health and spirituality, a critical collaboration. But let me talk about the first part of what you said about Black men.
Yes,
I'm graced to be a Black man in America and who's a therapist, and my practice is full of
yes. Mine too. Okay, I love it.
And I many of them have never done therapy before and have said to me, I searched for you, and it took a while to find you. And so, when we explore that a little further, I'll say to them, you can say it. It's fine. I get it. I understand.
Right.
And so I'm grateful that I'm able to, take some of these brothers by the hand and walk with them and explain the process of therapy. And yes, you're sitting in my office. You're a big grown man. It's okay. It's okay for you to cry. It's okay to be angry, to be disappointed, to be frustrated. So we help them tap into their emotional intelligence quite a bit. Because of all the toxic messages, society, and the false messages that they have to be Superman 24 hours a day, and this means this if they express their emotions this way. So I try to help detox them.
That's good. I love that. Detoxing our mindset and changing, I say it this way, Deon, changing our stinking thinking.
Absolutely.
In that regards. Oh my, I love that, because we don't have these conversations. Now, I don't know if you're like me. I have a waiting list of Black men trying to get in, and I'm trying to do everything I can to see them. And if you're
my waiting list folder.
Wow. Exactly. And we're trying to do the best we can in that. And that's why we need more brothers, Black, brown, Latino, all of that, to get in this field, because we need you so desperately. Because you're right. So many says, I've been looking for a year. I've been looking for 6 months to try and find you. They're like, I don't care what it costs. Do you take my insurance? I don't care. And I'm glad we're slowly changing that the ship in that is like the Titanic, trying to change the course of the Titanic in some regards with that. But we're definitely doing that as well. And I don't know about if it's like you, Deon. Over the past 4 to 5 months, I've had more Black men call me than I have in the past 4 to 5 years with that. Wow, which is amazing. And I think a lot has to do with the climate we've been dealing with BLM, what we saw witness with the insurrection, and all so many other things that's triggering us. So you being a trauma specialist, how do we deal with the trauma that definitely Black, and I'm going to be specific tonight, that Black men carry? The messages that we carry. How do we begin to really deal with that? And then the second part of that question, because I have a lot of women who are following, but who are married. How do we have the women encourage their husbands, boyfriends, sons, uncles to get the necessary help as well?
Sure. Well, 2020, man.
Right.
So much happened and occurred.
Yes.
Pre-COVID, my practice here in the DMV was busy, was active, and I was only working 3 full days and a half day. Once everything got shut down and I was in the house and my phone kept ringing, I decided to add in the other half of the day and then work on Fridays as well. And so what was happening was I was seeing about 30 to 35 people a week, and then a whole nother set of people the following week, and then develop a waiting list. So my schedule filled up quickly when I opened up hours. 2020, there was so much sadness and grief and loss with the pandemic, so much fear, so much anxiety, so much worry, and unfortunately, one of the things we saw a lot of racism. We saw a lot of a lot of privilege, a lot of police brutality. So I had a tremendous amount of brothers contacting me saying, I can't take it. I'm malfunctioning. I'm snapping with my significant other or my kids, etc.
Right.
So when I talk to people about the race-based trauma, right. The thing I tell them is to limit your access, if I can say this. Limit your access to trauma porn.
Yes. Right.
Trauma porn.
I love that.
Because it's so grossly dangerous for them to, or me also, to constantly look at, listen to, taking all this information to our senses.
Yes.
One thing I told them was to limit their access to trauma porn. Another thing that I would share with my clients would be
I'm taking that reference though, so I got to write that down. Trauma porn, because that's what it is.
It is. It really is. Limit
that's good.
To trauma porn. So that's number one. And number two is I would share with my clients is to try to help them to deal with that too. Be open and honest about your feelings and say. And I was very transparent with many of my clients to say, "You're a black man. I'm a black man. I'm angry too. You know, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated too about all of the racism and the crime and the police brutality. So I would encourage them to be open, and I would be transparent with them. But then I would encourage them in their quest to, have therapy and counseling.
Right.
And so that was for the brothers. Now for the significant others in their lives, it's kind of hard sometimes when you see somebody and they might need counseling or therapy. I've had wives and girlfriends, etc., really push the men in their lives to seek out somebody. And some of them contacted me first. And said,
I get that about 50% of the time.
And said, my brother wants that needs this, etc. But he told me, I'll say it like this. He told me that if he sees someone, they have to look like you. Yeah, that's the best way I'll say that. I would just tell the significant others in the lives of their men to just lightly encourage them to seek out counseling or therapy or even a support group of men to talk to work in a private, safe, confidence. And you can do that by just giving people a little nudge.
Most definitely. And I think that oftentimes we already know that for most men, women are the ones who help them get to the doctors for their annual, for an exam or anything like that. By the same token, I've had more wives, about 50% of the my black male clients that I do have, it's been because of the women and or girlfriends that have called and said, "Hey, I'm doing this for my husband," and then I'll reach out to them and said, "Hey," a lot of times the husband is right there. Say, "Are they right there?" Yes. Can you pass the phone over to them?
Absolutely.
Something as simple as that. You've said so many amazing nuggets in there with that as well. That is so good. I love that limiting. And that is so important when we're feeling the trauma, when we're in a trauma position and in a trauma moment, we have to, I love that. Limit the access to that trauma porn or those trauma hubs or whatever that's coming in. Absolutely. That is really, causing us to not feel right, therefore causing those traumatic reflexes that happen to us and want us to hit as men in that fight or flight reaction. In that. So, man, I love that. And even, do you use this as well? A lot of times with my male clients, I would like, listen, when I talk to them about therapy, and they're like, "Well, you're trying to tell me what to do." No, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. My job as a therapist, I said, can we relate to this? I said, have you ever played sports? Yeah. So what was the responsibility of a coach? And we go down there. Well, what can the coach do? The coach can yell at me. The coach knows. Well, what's the position? Why do we need coaches? Well, they can pull the best. That's all I'm here for, to do just that. And you see their anxiety levels, I'm going to correct this real quick, just really go down automatically as soon as that happens and everything. So, yes, so that happens too. With that, Deon, you and I share this common interest when it comes to superheroes.
We do.
Talk to me about this whole thing called superhero therapy, because I use it on my men as well. What's your premise behind superhero therapy?
So, well, I think there's a how can I explain this? There's kind of like pros and cons to that because, and then let me explain what I mean. Because society has indoctrinated so many men, particularly black men, that they have to. I'll use one of my favorite DC people because society has so indoctrinated men, particularly black men, that you have to be, Superman.
Right.
24/7. So when I have male clients who feel like they have to be the everything all at all times, and they cannot show, any weakness, what I'll do with that particular superhero, Superman, I'll tell them, no, Superman was super. There's two things about Superman you have to realize. I'll say he was super. He was super.
But
But first, there was a Clark Kent side of him.
Yes.
Who was much simpler and much weaker.
Right.
And it's okay. And I, emphasize with them, one, it's okay to be weak. So, and it's okay to say that. And if you don't feel like saying it in socially or in your family system, you can say that here when you come see me therapy. Judgment. But also let them know that even though Superman was Superman, he had a weakness.
Yes.
And he could be affected, and he got weaker whenever kryptonite,
right.
It kind of depends what I'll do. I'm in session a lot of times, and some, a client will say something or I'm thinking something, and I'll have a because I am into superheroes, DC and Marvel, and I love them, and in the background, let's see, there we go. You see that? There.
Oh yeah. I love it.
Right. I will make a reference, but I'll say, then I'll catch myself sometimes. I'm like, superheroes at all? And sometimes they're like, yeah, sure. And we're talking about other times they're like, no. I said, well, let me just give you a quick lesson.
Right.
Get the point.
Right. Deon, we have a question here that Paula Williams has. She says, I watched a protester get hit by a car on live on the news, and I cried my eyes out. Is this that type of trauma porn that you were making reference to?
So thank you for that. So first, that's definitely very
traumatic.
And painful. I personally would not like to see that.
Right.
I would put it under the classification of trauma porn, and Paula, I would encourage you to not look at that again.
Right.
So that's one of the things. That's one of the things that I said a lot in 2020 to my clients.
Yes.
With and plenty of my black male clients who were dealing with the pain, frustration, anger, anxiety of all of the, black murder.
Yes, exactly.
I told them, I said, I don't look at videos anymore. I don't look at those videos.
Right.
I'll get the information. I'll find out what happened, but I don't look at videos. You watch the video of him getting shot. Don't do it again. Don't look at it. And at that point, I become very directive.
Yes.
I do give them kind of like directions at that point.
Yeah, you have to. Deon, you said something really important. You said that you will listen to and you'll get all the information about it without listening to it, because when we viewing it rather, because when we see that leaves an impression.
It does.
Deep in our, just not in the psyche here, but in our heart, that can and does affect us. So I like what you're saying, limiting what our eye gates, can I say it that way? Take in.
That's right.
Take in, because it's a trauma that then we're possibly into the areas, now we are into this whole PTSD that comes into effect of that because of post-traumatic stress disorder, because of all the riots that we've seen, because of the Black Lives Matter, because of all these things. And you're absolutely right. I share that. We have to limit our intake. And I love what you said. That's going to be my new one. I'm going to definitely give you credit. Say my colleague out in the DMV says we have to limit our access to that trauma porn in that regards, because it's very addicting and it's also very scarring in that regards as well. So yes.
And I really try. I'm not perfect. I try to practice whatever I preach or teach my clients.
Most definitely.
So I started having days where I would limit my access to the news. So maybe I might watch the news Monday, but I wouldn't watch it again until like Wednesday or Thursday.
Yes. Got the Mr. Beecham. How are you, sir? Listen, he does a wonderful job in recovery with some gentlemen out in Riverside area in Southern California. So good to see you, Dr. Beecham. Glad to see you
Awesome.
out there, praying for you as well. So yes. As we're talking about this, because you also do some things you said definitely with recovery and all that as well. What are you seeing as a result of so many things that's been going on in our communities of color? Are you seeing addictions definitely, and then the pandemic on top of that, and then all this social injustice we're seeing? What are some of the trends you're seeing out there in the DMV area?
Okay, that's a good point. I think because and I'm thinking about the particularly about the region.
Yes.
Um, there's a mix here
Uh-huh.
within the DMV in a lot of ways, racially, culturally,
Right.
socioeconomic status, etc. All of my clients, for example, are pretty, high functioning. It's more
Mm-hmm.
counseling, psychology issues.
Right.
However, several of my clients are diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, maybe
Yes.
depression, a few with
Yes.
bipolar illness. So I've seen a strong spike in the DMV of anxiety
Yes.
and frustration, anger because of all of the limitations and the
Yes.
the guidelines. I haven't really seen too much manifested substance use. I don't know what people are
Okay.
doing in their house, but not
Okay.
not not like a surge where more people are going into substance abuse treatment. If anything, more people are depressed, they're
Mm-hmm.
anxious, they're
Mm-hmm.
angry, they're like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do. They're fearful.
Right.
There's the fear of contracting
COVID.
COVID, the
Yes.
disease. There's pain, there's grief and loss, but that's primarily what I'm seeing in the DMV.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're seeing across this nation and everything as well. I know out here in the LA, greater LA area, that's definitely what we're seeing. A lot of just feeling inadequate, insecure, not knowing, the whole anxiety because we don't know what the future holds. We don't, for so many, especially in our populated urban communities, folks could be one paycheck away from homelessness, one paycheck away from
So,
not being able to provide food for their families. So
sure.
that gets to be very stressful. So if your anxiety was already at a 3 or 4, your depression already at a 3 or 4, moderate to low prior to COVID, now it's high and severe as a result of COVID, as a result of Black Lives Matter, as a result of seeing so many trauma, like Paula said, seeing so much live things, and the news just repeats and repeats. One of my patients was saying, and I say, that they've watched the same thing 5 or 6 times in one day, and I'm like you. That's when I go into directives.
Oh yeah.
Turn the TV off. Turn social media off. Watch our shows, then turn it off. But
Pretty
you were
much.
going to say, yeah, you were going to say,
Pretty much. No, while you were talking, I was thinking about several of my clients too. I have some of my clients would probably fall in the category of being millennials, and
yeah,
several of them are very engaged and connected to
right.
what happens socially. So I can see strongly. I get concerned about a few of them
Mm-hmm.
because I see strongly how they absorb what
Yes.
happens in the culture in society and the effect that it has on them. So at times, even with particularly some of the black men, I've had to, be a voice of reality and
Yes.
a voice of motivation and encouragement and hope, and like, yes, this is horrible. This makes me angry. I understand you're angry,
Right.
but also push them to not stay in a place where they're angry and depressed and anxious.
Yes. And part of that is, and I think that what a lot of people are struggling with, this whole California, we're supposed to be in a stay at home. Man, I was doing a self care because I
Oh,
wanted to do self care this weekend,
absolutely.
and just to kind of bring my own anxiety levels and get all of that under control, making sure that I'm at my norm. So I went to Huntington Beach, and out here, and just got a room and just kind of brought all my stuff so I can kind of work, concentrate, do some meditation, and just think about what I want to do in quiet for the past 2 days. And when I was at the beach, I'm thinking I'm going to just find maybe a little quiet corner, just kind of right. And it was crowded, Deon. I mean, groups of 50, 60, 70 people, half of them not wearing their masks. The police just driving right past it. I'm like, what is going on here? My anxiety, I said, I got to go back to my safety of my room. In that, I think I tried to stay for maybe 30 minutes, and I was like, I got to go because it was stressing me out because I'm like, COVID is still real. In that regards. But what do we suggest to a lot of people who are feeling trapped right now, feeling the walls are closing in on them? Because I hate the term social distancing. I like the term physical distancing while remaining socially connected, because social distancing does imply something psychological that we cannot continue to do. So what are your suggestions with that on how to stay connected, how to lower our anxieties, and maybe some things that maybe you have shared with a lot of your patients?
One of the things that's difficult is that these guidelines and mandates are so different.
Yes.
State to state.
Yes.
Because we, as a United States, we have failed to have a unified response.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, the pandemic is winning.
Right.
We haven't had a unified response. So it is difficult. I've been encouraging people throughout this time, like you said, to stay connected to friends, family, support, network. I'm sure in the early stages of all of this, many of us were using virtual means to maybe to an excessive way.
Right.
In addition, some of the things that people would use for stress management and anger management, here in the DMV, at least, our gyms were closed for 4 months. And that's when I picked up 35 pounds that I got off and still working to get some more off.
Deon, ours are still closed, been closed since March 15th of last year. Still closed.
Oh, yeah, no. Ooh, that's a lot. So exercise of some type and sort. I purchased a bike. I purchased a bike over the summer. I had
right.
Exercise because of the intense psychological benefits of people's mental health and the endorphins that are released to help their anxiety and depression. I do encourage my clients I'll make a joke to my clients. I said, like I have prescription privileges and I don't. I'll say I'm prescribing you exercise of whatever. You can figure out whatever type you want. There's a lot of ways you can exercise. So.
Yes. And we're really encouraging people. I love it because I do the same thing. Like, you got to get out. And we just start brainstorming right there. Can you walk around the block? Is there a park nearby where you can go where you feel safe at? Keep your mask on, keep ventilation, keep your water. What else can you do? Can you find a time maybe that the malls, because our malls just recently start opening. And you're right, it varies from state to state. We can't do definitely no indoor eating, but here there's no outdoor eating as well. Everything is to go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so our restrictions are kind of there, and people are fighting back on it. And like, let's not try to let's deal within our confinements, but let's find our mental sanity in the midst of the confinements. It's not that you can't do anything. It's just some limited things. Let's do this in a healthier way. But what I have seen for some of them in my neighborhood, at least, families riding their bikes together. That's a win-win.
Oh, that's great.
That's a win-win. I bought a bike and it's still in my garage. That's a whole nother story. But confession is good for the soul, my brother, right?
Very much so. And I think one of the things we've seen is people have been victims of COVID pandemic fatigue. I can't tell you how many times I said 2020. None of us have ever lived through a pandemic.
Right. We haven't.
So all of us, self-included, I was telling my clients, all of us are walking through this together. Your restrictions are the same restrictions. I'm having the same emotional reactions, etc.
Yes.
And it's tough. So people, what's happening and has happened in various places, there's COVID fatigue and people are
Yes.
annoyed and frustrated. So some people, unfortunately, are saying like, I don't care. I'm just going to live my life and whatever happens. And so we have this ongoing continual saga. I've been to California once. I loved it. I have to get back.
Come on back out here. We'll show you a good time.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
Most definitely. Yeah, and I agree with you. Not only, I think we've moved from COVID fatigue to now being COVID frustrated.
Yes, sir.
And I think when you get frustrated, that's when that I don't care comes into mind, and it's that point where you're almost a point of no return. And this is where I think we as even professionals have to really push back even harder. Say, listen, we're through this. The best is still, as we say, the best is still yet to come, y'all. We just hang on in there a little while longer. And that's when I can say it this way, Deon, our faith kicks in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And why it kicks in at that point, because we want to help, because we know that COVID is affecting our communities 2 to 3, if not 5 times more than others. And when we're saying that, I cannot help believe, but also know that by the same token, it's affecting us in our mental health as well.
It is.
As well. So what are some other things that you would suggest to our community and our listeners today, that some other things that they can do to kind of help this COVID fatigue, this COVID frustration, maybe that you prescribe to your own patients?
Sure. Well, one of the other things is to try to keep our attitude, our mental space, our cognition is everything. Mm-hmm. How we look at things, our perception becomes our reality. So I try to encourage my clients to understand that this is not going to be forever.
Forever, yes.
It has now become long suffering.
Right. Ooh, that's good.
This is it's long suffering. We many of us thought that this would be over.
Right.
Self included.
Right.
in a few months, but now we are all in the parameters of long suffering. So I encourage my clients to look toward the future, basically. Look toward the future.
Yes.
This is not going to be the state of the world forever. Secondly, I try to encourage my clients to take advantage of any downtime that they may have.
That's
to work on some of their own, projects. I'm working on some stuff myself too. I'm very busy. You'll find out later, but I'm working on some other stuff myself as well. Even though I'm very busy, so to take some time to work on some ideas, projects, some visions, some goals.
Love it.
Thirdly, to try to really make good time for family connection as well.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. I love what you're saying, because since it's a new year, a new month, and we're looking for a new change to happen this Wednesday as well in 2 more days. Yes. I think it's a great time that I love vision boards and that point to our future in that. What's on your vision board, Deon, if I might ask?
Well, so it's fun. It's funny. I'm pulling up something from my phone in a second, because I want to make sure I answer your question well. So what? There we go. So one of the things that I've said a lot. I'm going to answer your question. Let me go back a little bit.
No, you're fine. Go right ahead.
In I think in 2019. Yeah, 2019. I want to make sure I get the year right.
Right.
Many people at the end of 2019 gathered together. I've never done a vision board myself. Okay. A board.
Right.
I've never been. Right. If all goes well, I plan to go to a vision party, do a vision board at some point. But many people gathered in 2019. They created a vision board and had no idea a pandemic was coming.
Right.
And the pandemic, for a lot of people, washed away a whole bunch of stuff on their vision board. So I didn't create a board, but at the beginning of the year, I did create a itinerary of goals in my and I keep it's in my phone. So I have 2020 goals. So it's a lot of stuff on here. I got a lot of work to do. So I will I will say it's broken down into categories. So I have financial goals, social goals, educational goals, and spiritual goals.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love that.
I don't mind sharing any if you or
go right ahead. I love that because I love this because not everyone is a vision board person, but I love that you've broken yours down into those categories. Yes, Joseph says he's got his vision board in that, and I would say it this way: do something that's going to speak to you, whether it's a vision board, whether it's a map, brainstorming, or whatever, listing, bullet points, whatever speaks to you that's going to help keep you focused, but make it intentional.
One of the things out there. So right now I live in Baltimore County. I was born and raised in Baltimore City, but I am planning to move, move. I'm staying in the DMV, of course, but right. Move south. I'm a strong fan of, if anyone's listening, out there, I'm a strong fan of PG County, so that's in Maryland.
Come on, Prince George County.
Absolutely. So that's one of the. In addition, I do plan to. Right now, I'm subletting office space in 3 locations. So not only am I planning to have a physical house move into PG County, I'm also planning to get my own office and actually transition into a group practice, because I definitely need some help.
Man, I love it. I love it. I love it. So listen, I just have a little small practice out here in Southern California, man, but whatever help, because, and I want people to see that, call me. I give you whatever I have, man. And it because I had a great team to help me with that. So great. We had this. Joseph says, my goal is to be mentally, emotionally, and physically healthy in 2021. Paula asked this question: what are your spiritual goals? Now Paula is the connection queen. So let me tell you something. You get on Paula, follow my brother here, Deon. She gonna connect you with 1,000 people. I think her reach is worldwide. She is absolutely amazing. But what are some of your spiritual goals? And what does your spirituality, how does that ground you in your theology? Your theology grounds you in your psychology.
Whoa. Okay. Wow.
I know. I know that's
where to start with that. So in addition to, let me say this first, in addition to being a licensed therapist here in the DMV, I'm also a ordained associate pastor in Baltimore at a large church. I am a Christian by connection and affiliation, but so my personal relationship and spirituality with God is very very serious. So I want to just take some time this year, one, to enhance my own personal individual spirituality, my own spiritual disciplines of prayer, meditation, the word, fasting, as well as because I am a spiritual man. One of the things that my program taught me, my graduate school program taught me to two great things, more than that, but 2 great things. One great thing it taught me was to be in sessions with clients and be aware of the presence of God with me in those rooms. But it also taught me to be able to work with clients from any type of spirituality framework or lack thereof.
Right.
So I bring all of that to my work with my clients. Some of my clients, before they came in to see me, they Googled me and found out everything about me. And I was like, oh, and you still came. You still came to see me. So now what I do with my clients, though, those that find out, I don't voluntarily tell them everything, but those that find out, I'll share with my clients and say, listen, I'm not a senior pastor. I'm an associate pastor at a church. I was a youth pastor for 10 years. And I'll say to them, however, my role in capacity with you is your therapist. You have a pastor. So even for some of my, I can say this, even for some of my church or other religious folks, I'll say, this is your therapy session. You are free to express yourself any sort of way.
However you need to.
So if you need to cuss,
go right ahead. Yeah.
Please. Go ahead. I got time. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Out. I have a very humanistic relationship with my clients.
I love that. And shout out to youth pastors. I was one for 15 years myself.
Oh, wow.
And
Awesome.
yeah. And I have a master's in theology. So I get it. And come on, licensed ordained. Yes, I do that too. So we wear that hat. But the beauty is because our customers, our clients will Google us.
Oh,
and yeah, I had someone says, I listened to your podcast. I'm like, it's good because they kind of know more about you than you get to know. So, well, since you know about me, let me now get to know about you, in that regards as well. So it's great that you do that. Now, Deon, I know sometimes, we don't insist on prayer, but if one of your patients does ask, can you pray with them? Do you do that in your practice yourself?
Sure, absolutely. If that's what they, want to,
But we make it clear that we don't, insist on it or anything like that. It's definitely their session, and we never want to infuse our thoughts and opinions on that as well.
And let me say that with that too, not to cut you off. So
you're fine.
I don't promote myself either as a Christian therapist.
Right. Neither do I.
Yes. I think I had a few members at the church I grew up in, and I've been at the same church since I was 11 years old.
Oh, wow.
In Baltimore. And it's a pretty big, thriving church. But I've had a few people, church leaders, et cetera, like, do you just see Christians? No. Not at all.
Right.
Do you only do Christian counseling? No. I can identify myself as a Christian without having to do Christian counseling or that way.
Exactly. Most definitely. Deon, you have been absolutely amazing on tonight. Man, brother, I appreciate you. Share with us, because you have your own shows that you do as well. Talk to us about the shows and some of the projects you do already that's already existing, and how can we stay connected with you?
Okay, sure. So it was December of last year. We launched a social media broadcast called an integrated approach. It's called an integrated approach, and it's going to be happening once a month on various dates on IG Live on a Friday at 8 p.m. There will always be a flyer. Each episode will feature myself and an invited guest. And we will talk about the integration of mental health and spirituality around various topics. So there will always be a flyer, and the event for this month is happening January 29th at 8 p.m. Friday, January 29th at 8 p.m. on IG. Myself and a female colleague of mine, we're going to be delving into politics and religion.
Wow. Okay.
So, yep. And I'm on IG under the _ DMV therapist. So if you're not following me yet, follow me.
Love that. The _ DMV therapist. Love that. Okay. You're dealing with two hot topics, politics and religion, all on one show on Instagram. Brother, I'm going to be praying for you. Man, I thank you for coming on, just really chopping it up like we did tonight, y'all, and just wanted to really just bring some light to what it's like with the DMV areas, doing the patients that you have, and just the universal need for therapy among Black men. I love it. Paula Williams says, I'm going to follow you, baby.
Follow you back.
Yes, Paula's amazing. And happy belated birthday, Paula. And Deon, happy birthday to yourself as well.
Thank you.
Yes. Did you do something special for your birthday?
Did I do something special for my birthday?
Yes.
So my birthday celebration is actually happening in two parts. Part one happened this weekend, where I went away to Crystal City, Virginia. I did a lot of shopping, a lot of great restaurants, had a two hour stretch and massage session.
Okay.
By a great guy in the DMV. I'm going to be posting about him tomorrow. It's called DMV Sports Massage.
Nice.
So yeah, I just stayed and just kind of, like you said, just took some downtime, and went off my diet and ate a lot of great food and a lot of great dessert, and I had a blast. I loved it. I can throw myself I'm doing something with my friends this weekend coming up, but I know how to throw myself a party as well.
I know that, and that's so important. That thing called self-care.
Self-care.
Throw yourself a party when you have to.
Absolutely.
When life doesn't throw you a party, you throw a party for yourself.
Yes, sir.
I love that. I love that. Deon, thank you again. Any parting words that you would like to share with our listening audience tonight?
So I would just like to say thank you for the invite, and I think that one of the things that's on my shirt, black, it actually says black therapists matter.
Yes.
So I think that it's very important, like you said, that we have an increased representation of people in the community doing this type of work. And for any of the anyone listening, there's African American male and female therapists in every state. If you need to reach out to someone for support during these challenging and difficult times, then take those steps. Be courageous and reach out. Therapy is a great way for you to. I tell my clients it's one of the best forms of self-care.
It is. So. It really is. Well, again, Deon, thank you so much for what you do. Continue to what you're doing. We and keep us posted on all your progress and all the different things that you are doing. Man, this is not going to be the last time you're coming on here. Would love to have you again and just continue what you're doing. Definitely.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Listen, y'all, we want to thank you again for joining us for another issue and an episode of Mental Health Matters with Marty. Again, I'm Martina Sellers, your mental health hygienist. And in closing tonight, I just want to remind you, your mental health is so important. We want you to grow and be strong. Yes, we are tired. Yes, there is fatigue. Yes, there is frustration, but brighter days are coming. We're in the long haul of this. Yes, we are tired, but hang in there. Continue to do those things that are going to speak to your soul and speak to your mind. Stay healthy, stay strong. Always, again, and we want to tell you, follow me on the following things here on Instagram at mental_health_Marty, on YouTube at Martina Sellers, and then on my podcast, Mental Health Matters with Marty. Please check us out on our podcast. Yes. And please, Apple listeners, please give us a 5-star rating and leave us a review. Why? Because it's so important that other people see that you're listening as well. This only grows as you subscribe to it. And become an I Matter member of Mental Health Matters with Marty by texting I Matter to 855-717-1272. Every Wednesday, we drop a new episode, and we have one coming up this coming Wednesday that talks about having a fresh start in this new year. And finally, if you like this t-shirt, please go to my website at mentalhealthmarty.com. There's a series on there, what I'm calling the I Am series. I am enough. I am lovable, and there's 3 other ones on there as well. Why? Because your mental health matters. In this journey called life, we don't want you to secretly suffer in silence in the shadow of shame, but we want you to speak up, speak out, and live. Why? Because we want you to always enjoy your life. We'll see you next week. Enjoy your life. Be free.